252.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 252. This is Frank G here along with
Ralphie D.
And Cool Water Kurt.
All right, I guess the question for this week I have is, do you guys remember when we used to have to wait to watch cartoons? Like, it wasn't just, today they have 24-hour instant access to anything you can imagine. But you remember back when we were kids, you had to get up, 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning so that you could get that 5-hour chunk of cartoons.
Yeah, this is a world that my children know nothing about. My children live in a world of everything is on demand when they want it. They have no idea
right now
how important it was to wake up as early as you could so you can catch your shows and your programming.
But sometimes you would wake up just a little bit too early and you would catch the Bible shows, the preachers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I did that a lot.
And actually, I think a lot of my Bible knowledge came from those pre-cartoon episodes, probably.
Yeah. It was like 5 to 10 minutes of church that I had to get on Saturday, and I was like, hurry up,
fine.
Come on.
You're lucky New Zoo Review is next, because there's no way I can take this.
But it was all worth it in the end.
For sure.
Today we're going to talk about some of those shows, the ones that we loved, the ones that we hated, the ones that no one remembers at all. But before we do that, let's see what you guys have from the 252 news and reviews.
All right, so first up this week, actually, Frank and I were talking about this before the show. We were talking about the epidemic of the vocal fry and how it's still out there.
It's still out there, and it's still as huge as it was back in the day, or what?
Well, you know what? Well, see, this is like, because I remember, like, for me personally, and I know I talked about it before on the show, I had dated the bad girl, and she talked like that all the time. Right. And we would just say, oh, man, you're talking like, Fran Drescher from The Nanny. Like, so, and it wasn't until I dated the other girl, that nice Jewish girl. I have a whole thing that happened with that because I had another friend of mine that was Middle Eastern, and there was a whole thing there.
Hey man, let's
not
be bogged down with the details.
But it's what it's doing now. It's like, it seems like, especially with the young women out there today, they're all talking with this voice, and it's
annoying as shit.
Yeah, it is annoying. That's one, it's annoying, and two, I don't know if they feel like they need to do that, like being in a man's world again. And I'm being very
so-called man's world,
where they feel like they need to change their voice to be accepted, or so we understand that they're.
This is one time when I wish this was a call-in show, because I want to know why that people why is it
not going away? First of all,
why is it happening? Why are they doing it?
Let me call in. I'll be the caller on the phone who doesn't actually show up on the video. Kurt, there's a good song. No, it's originally supposed to be some sort of a sexy thing. Really, they're trying to be Anne Margaret in the '60s, but the way they do it now, it came from all that Britney Spears bullshit.
You know what?
The Kardashian. Yes, you know what?
Kardashian talk like and the more they do that, it's everywhere. But then on top of that, now you've got like, the woman who's in charge of the press stuff for the upcoming president does it every time she speaks. She sounds like a baby with vocal fry.
Baby, that's what it is.
Yeah. And not just that, I mean, there are still like a lot of actors. I mean, you got like Lake Bell, you got what's her name, Zoe Deschanel, like the new girl. I love
Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah, Zoe. I love the new girl, but she talks like that all the time.
And the more some people that are celebrities through that are public eye, then everybody else starts to emit. They do the same thing.
You know what? I didn't know there was a name for it. Thank you for bringing it to light for me.
Before we were talking about it again off camera. It was like, back in the day, it was like the Valley Girl craze.
Oh yeah.
But the Valley Girl craze was
for sure,
like that. And this is just
that's where likes came from.
Yes,
we still get overkill to this day.
Oh, it's killed. It's dead now, man.
It's so bad. I
know, and it's so crazy. Especially if you're in a professional atmosphere, and you have to kind of stop yourself from saying like so much. I mean, even if I'm using similes and metaphors, I'm like, should I be using like right now?
Yeah, exactly. People of today, before 1983, people did not include like every third word in a sentence.
And switching gears slightly, speaking of women, I would like to have a short review, a short non-spoiler review
Yes.
of HBO's Bright Lights, the
Yes.
Carrie Fisher, Debbie
Debbie
Reynolds.
Reynolds doc.
First of all, I'm gonna say, I mean, I watched this doc, and I'm gonna say it was very good. It gave you moments of where you felt like delight.
Right.
You felt at some points it was sad, like.
They both have that.
There's certain to see when you see your old stars and they're just like, oh, it was sad on that account, one, and there's another sad part, where they focused a lot on Debbie Reynolds. And again, I'm not gonna say any spoilers, but just in her house, she would have all her pictures on the wall of all of her
She was young and hot, man.
Oh yeah, she was. You almost forgot how.
I love Singing in the Rain. I never forget.
But when you just see all of her friends and pictures and stuff, it was like, wow, you really were like the last bastion of old Hollywood. Like all of your friends are dead, and it was just, and you're just looking at that and it's just like, you have that. And then, watching that last, 2 minutes of Rogue One, now after everything, that's a little more, it touches you a little more. And I'm just going to say, just for me, if you're not into docs or whatever, but if this is one, if you just look at it, and it was actually directed by Fisher Stevens, which, hey, nice to see him still working.
Yeah.
And
No search on in number 5. Like that later on, I was like, that guy's not Indian. Oh.
It's good to see him still working.
Yeah.
But
Does he still have the beard too?
Or
was he in the documentary?
Yeah, well, of course he has the beard. He still looks like him. He's that guy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was warm. It was heartwarming. Yeah. I mean, I almost jerked a couple tears out a couple of times because I was just like, oh man, because
I'm saying
it. And
I mean, we can't impress on the viewer right now how much Hollywood royalty that both of them.
Yeah, again, because the one thing that you really kind of forget is like Carrie Fisher has been in the media since she was a fetus.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it was like they were America's sweetheart. I mean, that was like, I don't even know. We don't even really have, with all the Brangelinas and all the shit that we have.
We sadly do, and it's Kim and Kanye. It's the
closest.
Right. So of what we have today, that was the penultimate back in the day when it was Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah, and shoot, their relationship was wrapped in controversy as well.
Yeah, Liz Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, that was Liz Taylor's husband.
No, that was Debbie Reynolds and Carrie and Eddie Fisher were together. They were America's sweetheart couple, and Liz Taylor was Debbie Reynolds' friend. And she backdoored the Uchiyo with the thing, and it was a whole. And Eddie Fisher, I mean, in his own right at that time, he was a mega star at that time. Anyway, highly recommend the doc. If you didn't get a chance to see it, it's on HBO. From what I understand, it was supposed to be released later on, but due to what happened with Carrie and Debbie,
they had to do it. The timing was right.
They rolled it out, and it's just like, it's really good. So HBO on demand, HBO Go, whatever on your service devices.
Recommendation, sir.
And on my final recommendation, if you want to do your little Netflix and chill with your lady for the weekend,
that's what I do.
I am go ahead recommending written and directed by Batman's Robin, Don John. Watch it again. Give it another burn. It's really good.
I saw it. It's decent. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be as much of a romance as it was. And
I kind of dug it. Mostly a movie about a guy jerking off for porn.
A lot of jerking off.
I related to how it's ruining his. I remember you had went through that whole thing where it's like, I'm done. I'm like, I'm cutting off porn. I'm cutting off jerking off. I'm done. And how long did that last?
Well, originally I was going to do it for a month, and I lasted that whole month. I didn't do anything. I really got to know me. And then after that month, I really got to know me.
I'll go in with the oddball choice that no one else is likely to pick, and go with Richie Rich. You say, what? That? No, seriously though. That came out when we had just lost Super Friends. We lost Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That bad Hulk show that was on went away. All the comic book based shows, cartoons were gone that year. But Richie Rich came out, and then you know what? It was exactly like the comics, which I still liked. Harvey Comics, Casper, Richie Rich, all that
good
stuff.
Yeah, all good.
They're nowhere to be found these days, but they were good, as good as Archie's back then, probably a little bit cooler because there was more variety.
Yeah, great reads too, and they had some good comic and stuff.
I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback onto that, and for me, I actually had to dwindle down to what was my favorite. I actually have a top 25 list. Richie Rich is number 14 on my top 25 list. So I've had to move my list around. And I would say for the dozens and dozens of viewers that we have, if you think that I just went on and did a Google search of like cartoons, I will take the Pepsi challenge, and I will even say that anyone on my list, well, not anyone, I would say about 85% of the cartoons that I have on my list, if you were to ask me one, I could probably belt out a couple bars off of the theme song. Cause
you better be able to.
I watched. It was like my religion, like Saturday morning cartoons. That's why it was hard for me to get down to my favorite. And I will do the same thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure my top 5 is, because you already said a couple of them already, is like, this is what you stayed up to watch.
All right, listen, I'm telling you, this is my top 3. This is either number 3 or number 2. Gummy Bears. Do not tell me that theme song isn't great and doesn't still resonate in your head. I mean, I'll be taking a leak or something, and Gummy Bears theme song will just pop into my head, and I will sing it.
Yeah. Gummy Bears, number 13 on my list. Looking right here.
I think you might need to tweak that list again, man.
I mean, I love
the animation.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good.
I missed that one. I remember it being on, but I don't know what I watched instead. But I watched something else.
Stories to share.
Or else it was on towards the end of the day, and I had to go out and do stuff.
That's possible. I think
bouncing along
later on in the day.
I have less love for those 11:30 shows because it was like, okay, it's time to go out and start digging in the yard or whatever.
No, I stayed committed all the way until it stopped. What was like the programming? It would just be like, I don't know, was it the Wide World of Sports? Something that would be like right after.
Yeah, something like that would be on the tail end.
The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
As we're sitting here, I'm actually forgetting. I don't have on my list, believe it or not. I don't have my Saturday what was it called? Saturday morning arcade.
Oh yeah,
I used to love it because it would have like Qbert,
Pac-Man,
Saturday Supercade. Yeah, Pac-Man was
Saturday Supercade. What did you have? Space Ace?
Pitfall.
Yeah,
Pitfall with the stupid animal thing that followed him around. And what was the other one?
Dirk, right? Wasn't Dirk on there?
Dirk.
Dirk.
They did have Dragons. I think they'd spin that
Dragon's Lair. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, did it have its own? I just remember.
I think so, but maybe not. It probably did because of the quality of the. Oh, this is great,
Yeah, Don Bluth, man.
It proceeded to animate it at like 1/3 the frame rate of the actual video game, so it just looked like crap, but it was still cool because it was on. And that was the big year for that sort of sword and sorcery thing, which probably leads to something else there too.
Number 10 on my list. Number 10 on my list.
I have issue with that list because that's actually number 1.
That's number 1 on your list?
Number 1 on my list.
Well, let's go ahead and pull back the veil. Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons, man. I mean, look, that
Do you remember the line?
Was full of drama with shit. Who was on the show?
Archer, acrobat, thief, wizard, barbarian, and cavalier.
Cavalier, that's right. And you wanted
to hate kids. Cavalier. Yeah, they were. Yeah, because he was always. He was a jerk. He was a
That
Cowboy.
reminded me of Reggie.
They couldn't use Rogue in a kid-friendly theme. That was they got to call it something else.
You got to call it Cavalier and then make him anything but Cavalier.
But yeah, that was a great show. Yeah. You always thought that they were going to make it home, and always something would always happen, and they wouldn't make it. I was like, oh man,
they wouldn't make it. They couldn't get out, and it was like Tiamat. Oh no, it's Tiamat.
Yeah, Tiamat,
the three-headed dragon.
Yeah,
or seven-headed. Was it? I can't remember. It had several heads. It was great.
Several-headed dragon. Tiamat.
Multi-heads always good.
But then again, that was number 10 on my list.
Let me tell you that they still run with that. If you can, that's a current module right there. The Rise of Tiamat.
Oh, Rise of Tiamat.
Oh wow,
nice.
Damn,
they're still on that subject. 30 years later.
And I've run a bunch of campaigns, and Tiamat was always the with the guy that I was ran.
Because you can't Tiamat.
You can't beat him.
You can't beat him. It was great. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just
knock it down.
I'm just gonna list off. I'm just gonna go on my top 25. I'm a
25.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw out names. We don't have to really talk about them.
All
right.
I'm gonna just throw them out there, and then when I start to get to my top 5, then I'll talk a little more in depth. So,
all right, go.
Starting number on 25, the Harlem Globetrotters.
Mm.
For me, obviously, watching the mostly black cast cartoon.
Hey, Curly Neal was funny.
The Adventures of Mighty Mouse
the
and
new
Heckle.
Adventures
Of Mighty Mouse and Heckle and Jekyll.
I like that one too. The animation was a little bit different and updated from the old stuff from what was it, the 40s, Frank? The old Heckle and Jekyll.
They did 30s, 40s, 50s, all that stuff. But which one are you talking about now? You're talking about the 87 one?
It was like from 79 to.
Okay, so yeah, those are my favorites around that time.
Those are my favorite. That was my time period. It was like, here I come to serve the day. That was my Mighty Mouse, and then Heckle and Jekyll had their thing. Pro Stars.
Ooh, all right, so we're almost getting out of our. We're not supposed to be watching cartoons at this time.
I was watching cartoons. I still watch cartoons. My wife now I don't care. My wife comes home. I'm watching cartoons now. So I was watching cartoons well past when I was supposed to be watching cartoons.
That's what I'm saying.
But then again, that's what I'm saying. It's 23 on the list, but it's going to go, all right. Land of the Lost. Wasn't a cartoon, but Saturday mornings I loved
and I hated that show.
Yeah, I loved it. There was a few things, but I know we're coming up later with that, so I'll just keep moving. Kid and Play, Mask, Mr. T, which was,
Mr. T.
Interesting note. Phil Lamar was the voice talent on this show.
Oh, was he?
He was a black kid.
Yeah.
I pay the fool that don't want Mr. T cereal.
Yeah.
The real Ghostbusters, and it has to be the real Ghostbusters because they jumped up with another Ghostbusters with the monkey, and I watched that one too. It wasn't that good, but the real Ghostbusters was good
with Slimer
and Darkwing Duck, Jim Henson's Muppet Babies.
All right, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. I'm gonna have to stop you on the Muppet Babies. It's not high enough or not low enough. It's not. It's too high on your list.
Muppet Babies is gonna get that special award. So.
Yeah,
the next level cartoon.
I know. I'm saying it's good.
Oh, you're saying it should be lower on the. But man, look, I watched a lot, so I had to be able to. I messed with this list around a little bit.
He's also you're like 1 year off too. Well, I guess I'm that too. It's the difference in he was a grade off from us, so he was watching different cartoons that year.
Yeah,
that's true. All right, you're right. You're right.
Thank you. My list, I know.
Okay. Your list.
Right,
I'm sorry.
Heathcliff and the Cadillac Cats, Richie Rich, Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears, Animaniacs, Scooby-Doo. So now we're getting into the top 10, or Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Says it's very important because it's the Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Where Are You?
I was never a fan of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo comes in on my what was one of those things that you had to scramble to change.
Oh man!
If I had to pick Scooby-Doo, the one you like there, and also the occasional ones where he would meet Phyllis Diller or Batman and Robin, I could do those too.
Because that was the same animation when Scooby-Doo met Batman and Robin. It was the same Batman animated from the Filmation.
Yeah.
So Then we got to Dungeons and Dragons, Gargoyles.
Mhm.
Number 8, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. Number 7, DuckTales. Number 6, Voltron. Now we go into my top 5.
Defender of the Universe.
Number 5, Thundercats.
All right, let me stop. Right
Number
there. Thundercats kind of has a special place in my heart.
Okay, I thought you was about to shit on Thundercats.
Oh no, hell no.
Is it because in the 3rd grade your hair looked exactly like Lionel's?
There's that. There's that.
He had a bad perm, and it didn't curl, and it just went out like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, "The fuck happened to you?" What was you?
I was Lion-O before Lion-O was Lion-O. Right? Wait, let me gloss over that. It has nothing to do with that. Right? I remember when the premiere of Thundercats came on at night, and it was always a treat when a cartoon came on at night, and it was like at 7 p.m.
Number 2
Thundercats. Like what the hell is Thundercats? I gotta tune into this, and then you saw all the glory of Panthro and Lion-O, etc. And then Tigra Chitara,
Snarf.
one of my first cartoon female crushes. Chitara.
Before Wonder Woman?
Well, when I really had a crush. I mean, Wonder Woman was all right, but I mean, Chitara was all right.
Okay. Number 4 on my list is the Super Friends. Number 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Heroes in the Half Shell.
Turtle Power.
Number 2, Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, all right. Hold on. Let me stop you right there. That is another one of those nighttime shows also. The premiere came on at night. And we were in for something special when that came out. That show just...
And I was definitely in high school. Like
I was out of high school.
This is high, yeah. I was still in high school, and I was still watching cartoons.
Had my own apartment.
I was still watching cartoons, but that was like right after we graduated. So
It's funny. I had my own apartment.
Yeah.
I was in high school, and I was watching Batman the Animated.
Yeah, the only
I'm not sure it actually qualifies for a Saturday morning cartoon list, but otherwise we're good.
And wrapping it up, be with the X-Men.
Now, is this the X-Men coming your way, coming your way?
No,
it's not that because I only have one episode.
Yeah, and I watched it over and over and over again.
Good day, mate. I'm gonna stab you with my claws.
Yeah, I hated that.
It's getting pretty warm in this suit.
We watched that at Frank's house, actually.
No one can stop
the Blob.
I loved all of that.
Yeah, and I actually liked that better than the X-Men that we did get later on. Although that was a great series, don't get me wrong. But
if they had made that pilot into a series, it would have been by the same people that made Transformers and G.I. Joe and Gem and My Little Pony or whatever. But that team of like the Marvel Studios back then.
I was predisposed to love that animation, and I was,
I was right there with you. I watched pretty much everything that Frank just said except for My Little Pony.
Yeah, I didn't watch I think there was a cartoon, wasn't there? I know there is now.
There was a My Little Pony cartoon I didn't watch. That was one on my hated list, but I did watch Jim and the Holograms.
Yeah, me too.
A lot.
Yeah, I think My Little Pony was probably aimed at like 3 to 5 year olds, so we were like, okay.
All right, this is way
out. We'll watch Gem, no problem.
Yeah. She was truly outrageous. The
last thing about the we'll bookend with start and finish with Richie Rich. A lot of the cartoons were starting to like around that time, 82, 83, 80. They didn't know what they were doing. And the reason I stopped watching Richie Rich is because they combined it with Little Rascals. It was the Richie Rich Little Rascals show. It's like on at the same time as Fonz in the Happy Days gang.
Yes.
Shirley joined the army. Mork, all these things that shouldn't have been cartoons at all. That just had no direction or focus. It's like, fuck this, I'm watching Smurfs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Smurfs was
good. I love that for Smurfs.
I loved Smurfs until they added Johan and Pee Wee and the same thing. Click. It's like it's the cousin Oliver of Smurfs. As soon as they start adding that, I'm out.
Yeah, we have a smaller Smurf. Wait, now hold on.
Oh, the baby Smurf. Oh, fuck! I forgot about baby Smurf. every time they add a baby character, that's the end of something too.
What did you feel about the Littles?
Death Knell. Oh, I love the Littles.
Did you like We Are the Littles? You remember that? Oh man, they were like all. It was like I don't know what they were. These creatures that were little.
I read the book.
Oh, okay.
The Littles, and I think they had tails.
252.
Adonis, pull yourself together.
Wow, it's Fireman! Not Spider-Man, Spider-Animal! Ow! Hey, Animal! What's going on? Me not know. Animal, I'd say we have a little problem here. What do you say? No go, bye-bye. More so.